What is going on, folks? It's GBU time, one of your favorite series here in the Max Forti channel. And this particular one is one that I get asked all the time, whether it's my favorite from the whole collection, the whole line of Yves Saint Laurent fragrances, or what is my favorite L'homme or La Nuit fragrance. In this video, I'm going to give you guys a full rundown on the L'homme collection as well as the La Nuit, the L'homme collection. If you guys want to check out which ones are my favorites, the good, the bad, the ugly, the underrated, and overrated from these collections, stick around. The video's coming up right now. What's going on, everyone? So in today's video, one of the most requested GBUs of all time, the House of Yves Saint Laurent. Now, I did a video for you guys, I think 5 or 4 years ago. There's a whole playlist of a whole bunch of GBUs, good, bad, ugly, underrated videos from a whole bunch of different houses, I think over a dozen. I'll put the playlist up here so you guys can check out the other videos. But in this video, we're going to talk about, in particular, the L'homme and the La Nuit, the L'homme. So the whole L'homme Yves Saint Laurent collection. We all know that Yves Saint Laurent has a ton of different fragrance collections. And in fact, Yves Saint Laurent is probably one of the brands out there with the most flankers per collection. But in today's video, it's going to be all about L'homme and La Nuit, the L'homme. So let's do it. Before we dive into the fragrances, we're going to talk about a little bit of the background and some fun facts of Yves Saint Laurent, or how it's known today simply as Saint Laurent. Laurent began his fashion career at the tender age of 17, and here's the fun fact about this. He was an assistant to one very well-known French designer, Christian Dior. Laurent started the fashion brand in the 60s and became one of the most prominent and revolutionary fragrance fashion brands in the 60s and 70s. And still to this day, is looked upon as one of the best fashion houses in the market. And when it comes to fragrances, the first creation was a perfume for ladies created in 1964, simply called Women Why. Laurent remained involved with many fashion projects with the brand throughout the decades until his retirement in the late 80s, and sadly passed away in 2008. Many great fashion designers were involved with this particular brand, and one in particular calls my attention the most, which is one Tom Ford, which then later in 2005 created his own fashion brand simply called Tom Ford. The rest is history. All right, so this is the time you guys have been waiting for. Let's talk about the whole line. I'm going to start chronologically in the order that they were released. Starting with the first one, of course, L'homme, released in 2006, is a fragrance that got everybody talking about. Yves Saint Laurent created these amazing hexagonal tops or caps. The sprayers were actually great on these fragrances, really nice mist that you got with them. And the scent itself is what you came to expect with Yves Saint Laurent up to that point. 2006, L'homme was a great crisp apple sort of a fragrance that has got this beautiful ginger and cardamom up top. Just a great scent, woodsy, aromatic, fruity type of a scent that you can wear anytime, anywhere, dress up or dress down. One thing is for sure, you're going to smell amazing. What I love about 2006 L'homme is that you had this amazing trifecta dry down, including that fruity, ginger, spicy, woodsy up top. You're gonna have an amazing trifecta of vetiver, tonka, and cedar. So this is a great scent, guys. One of the best from the line, and definitely one that if you haven't tried, which I'm sure you have, you must check out. L'homme from 2006. 2009, 3 years later, saw a flanker that was darker, deeper, and more for the night, if you will. Of course, we're talking about La Nuit, the L'homme, the night of the man. So they took the L'homme scent profile and made it darker, adding this lavender, vetiver, spicy, gorgeous cardamom up top. This stuff is a bomb. Released in 2009, definitely a great fragrance that everybody talks about in some way, shape, or form. If you've been in the community, if you've been wearing fragrances for years, you've definitely saw this fragrance, wore this fragrance, have heard about this fragrance. Definitely a great one, guys. It has been toned down, ridiculously toned down over the past few years. A great scent, guys, from 2009, La Nuit de L'homme. And in fact, when La Nuit de L'homme was released in 2009, it was definitely one of the most innovative and unique scents in the market up to that point within that decade. It's definitely one of my favorite releases for that particular decade. La Nuit de L'homme was such a great release in 2009 that in 2010, Yves Saint Laurent actually gave us another flanker of the La Nuit collection instead of the L'homme, giving us La Nuit de L'homme Le Parfum. Now, Le Parfum added this really amazing cocoa-like patchouli in the dry down, some dried fruits, and vanilla. Really taking this particular fragrance to the next level, making it more resinous, more darker, and more deeper, and definitely sweeter. 2011 actually gave us 2 new flankers now into the L'homme line, and these particular fragrances are actually really nice. We had L'homme Cologne Gingembre, which is actually instead of an eau de toilette or an eau de parfum, it's just like an eau de cologne. Now the thing about this one here is amps up the ginger, which I really loved, into the L'homme composition. That fruity apple is still here, but ginger is really going to be the main essence here. But this particular fragrance is not really strong. This is definitely the weakest up to this point. A fragrance that I would suggest for office wear or maybe the gym. It's something that's going to last 2 to 3 hours. So the problem with this fragrance was the actual performance. I always wish that they would release an Eau Gingembre Extreme, Eau Gingembre Intense, maybe a darker version of this particular fragrance with an amplified ginger note. Maybe like a darker, bronze bottle would be cool too. But just some food for thought, Yves Saint Laurent, if you're watching, this would be a great release. But also, L'homme Libre was introduced in 2011, and this particular one is definitely a very underrated scent. This particular fragrance had a very nice note of violet flower, was really amped up on the green herbal notes. Took the L'homme into a more quote-unquote mature vibe, giving this like an herbal, green nuance to the L'homme scent profile. L'homme Libre is a very innovative composition, one that is great. It was put together by two master perfumers, Olivier Poge and Carlos Benaim. And the main characters here are going to be a pink pepper spicy accord with an ozonic undertone, the vetiver, and that violet leaf the violet flower actually that I talked about. A really nice one. If you can get a bottle of this, I think it's sadly discontinued now. This is definitely a great one to check out. Now, 2012 gave us a flanker of La Nuit again, and this particular one was one that was really scoffed upon and really mocked upon when it first came out. People thought it was just a money grab, cash cow type of a scent. And this is La Nuit de l'Homme Frozen Cologne. It is a cologne concentration, but I have to tell you one thing right now. This happens to be one of my favorites, not giving too much. But this is a great flanker to the La Nuit de l'Homme. I gave it like a fresher, fizzy, sparkly kind of a feel to the La Nuit de l'Homme, which is a little bit powdery. This is not powdery. Now it's going into a different, more aromatic, like I said, like the name implies, like a frozen, refreshing, fizzy opening. Doesn't last it as long as the original, but I still got 4 to 5 hours with this, which is pretty amazing for this particular cologne concentration. And in fact, the funny thing about this particular fragrance is now discontinued and very hard to find, and out of the whole collection of L'homme Yves Saint Laurent fragrances, one of the most sought after flankers to date. In fact, is a pretty penny if you find a used bottle like this. So just some food for thought, and goes to show that sometimes, when a fragrance is released, sometimes we overlook and we say, that's not very good, it's a hard pass for me. But in time, it might grow on you and be just like Frozen Cologne, a great sought-after fragrance in today's market. 2013 actually gave us 2 more flankers, one of which was called L'homme Libre Tonic, which I don't have it. It was also an older cologne, a lighter, more summery version of Libre, which I like a lot better, so I never actually purchased a bottle of Tonic Libre. But it also gave us an amazing L'homme flanker called Parfum Intense. Now they took that L'homme character and made it creamier, sweeter, and more intensified with a vanilla dry down, almost like a labdanum resinous dry down as well with this particular fragrance. Really took that L'homme character to the next level. If you like sweet fragrances that are borderline gourmand, but really an oriental, woody, spicy scent, the Parfum Intense L'homme would be definite for you to check out. What I love about Parfum Intense L'homme version, the 2013 version of L'homme, is that they intensified it with black pepper, which gave this a really nice spicy profile. There's also an ambery, sweet vanilla, labdanum, resinous kind of an undertone that you get with this fragrance throughout the life of it, which is really, really appealing and compelling. That made it really exquisite and different than anything else that Yves Saint Laurent had released to the L'homme collection to this point. So definitely one worth checking out. You can still find this in today's market for a reasonable price, so I definitely highly recommend and suggest you guys checking out L'homme Parfum Intense. 2014 gave us a flanker that not many people are aware of. This, not even I. I actually learned about this fragrance about 2.5 years ago, and I'm glad to have it in my collection. This is going to be L'homme Sport. Yes, they did get into the sport flankers. Sadly, a lot of companies do that, and it's kind of, hit or miss. What I like about L'homme Sport is that it amped up the citruses, adding notes of aldehydes, amped up the ginger accord, and really gave it a nice lemon verbena to the scent, which is really amazing for warm weather. So L'homme Sport is a great one for spring and summer hot days. You're going to smell amazing. I actually get really good performance with this one, so it's one that it's very underrated, and if you can, I think it's definitely discontinued to this point, and a little hard to find, but if you can find a bottle, definitely suggest you guys checking out the one with the red stamp, just like you see here. It will not disappoint. If you like that sporty, semi-aquatic, spicier bergamot, you're gonna love this stuff, guys. 2015 gave us a release that was quickly disregarded and dismissed by the fragrance community. This is perhaps the most floral fragrance in the L'homme/La Nuit collection, and this is 2015 La Nuit de l'Homme L'Intense. A lot of people had really high hopes, and they were really excited about this fragrance. They thought it was going to be darker and deeper, sort of like a Dior Homme Intense, because they had the notes of violet and iris to this fragrance. And because of that iris, a lot of people thought this was going to be like a cocoa iris type of a scent, just like Dior Homme Intense. I have to tell you guys, this stuff is actually pretty good, and you can actually find this very well priced these days. La Nuit de l'Homme Intense is a very nice fragrance, one that gives me a lot of positive attention, and one that I would definitely suggest you guys revisit. If you have tried this back in 2015 and you didn't think it was good enough, it is definitely a great one. I actually like to layer this with other ones in this collection, obviously the darker ones, but it is a great scent on its own. You're gonna have that beautiful iris, floral, violet iris combination throughout the life of this fragrance, but it also carried that original La Nuit de l'Homme DNA with the cardamom, spicy kind of a vibe that we all come to love. The main things here are in the dry down, which you're gonna get a really sweet vibe with a combination of benzoin, vanilla, and tonka. 2016 gave us a fragrance that again was quickly dismissed, but now it's actually one that's really talked about here, especially in the fragrance community on YouTube and on Facebook. And this is another flanker to the L'homme line. This is L'homme Ultime, which by the name Ultime, we thought this was going to be like the ultimate, the last, the last flanker of the L'homme collection. It was not, I'm just going to tell you right now. But this 2016, 4 years ago, February 2016 to the date, was the release of this particular fragrance. And Ultime had the L'homme ginger, cardamom, all that stuff, that green apple that we love, all that stuff that we come to appreciate from the L'homme is also represented here, but they added some really cool metrosexual androgynous notes like rose, for instance, which gave the scent a really cool profile that again was really new to the L'homme collection. L'homme Ultime is a great one for the springtime. I think this is the best time for this particular fragrance to shine, and in fact, it's another one that's still available today, and I definitely urge you guys to check it out if you haven't, because once it gets hard to find or discontinued, which I think it actually has been discontinued, once it becomes really hard to find, the prices are really gonna climb on this particular one. My wife's favorite from the La Nuit collection, this is 2017 release, Yves Saint Laurent Eau Electrique. Eau Electrique is a really nice one, but I have to be honest, when I first tried this fragrance, I really didn't like it because to me it smelled very similar to a lot of the stuff that were happening back in those years, which was that blue, tonka, ambroxan kind of a scent, which is again is going to be present here. The bottle is a little bit blue, as you can see. The juice actually is blue. So it's going to have a blue tonka, Eros light, kind of like Versace Eros. It's going to be very much in that vein, but also has that lavender, cardamom, spicy stuff that we like from the original La Nuit. So it is a nice scent, I have to be honest. And on my skin, I'm actually lucky enough to get about 7 hours, 6 to 7 hours with this fragrance. It does smell good. And I'll be honest with you, even though this is not a very imaginative or very creative scent, it is a good one. In fact, even the ones that are probably going to be bad or overrated in this collection, they all smell good. Everything that Yves Saint Laurent puts out, I think it smells really good in quality, and this one here is no different. It is a very nice scent, perhaps a more youthful from the collection, but something that I can see, someone that's a young person out there or somebody that wants to make a really good first impression, wants something a little bit sweeter, will really enjoy Eau Electrique. It is a very nice scent. I don't know where they got that name, Eau Electrique. I mean, maybe because it's youthful, it's electric, it's going to give you energy. I can see that. It's definitely very sweet tonka ambroxan dry down on this one right here. Last but not least, a 2018 release, and in fact, there is going to be a 2020 release coming out very soon. I think it's out now. It's called L'homme Le Parfum, but this one here was the one that came out in 2018. This here's L'homme Cologne Bleu, which again, the name says it all. It's going to be a take on the blue genre, a more fresher. We had, Eau Electrique, which was like a darker blue nuance, and this one here is the Cologne Bleu from the L'homme flanker line. And again, a more fresher, citrus, brighter, effervescent, refreshing type of a blue scent. It smells great. Doesn't get great performance on my skin. I get about 4 to 5 hours, but it is a really nice office scent or running errands, casual type of a scent. It does smell great. If you like that semi-aquatic, ozonic, refreshing citrus blue type of a scent, you're gonna love Cologne Bleu. Like I said, there's nothing you're not gonna like here. All this stuff smells good and of quality, as you come to expect with Yves Saint Laurent. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you've been waiting for. We talked about 12 different compositions from Yves Saint Laurent L'homme and La Nuit collection, starting from 2006 all the way to 2018. And it's time I tell you guys my good, my bad, my ugly, my most underrated and overrated from my collection. The good from the La Nuit L'homme collection, or La Nuit collection, for me, it's going to be La Nuit de l'Homme. And rightfully so, this particular fragrance is amazing. La Nuit de l'Homme, that spicy cardamom, lavender, it is breathtaking, it is catching attention. It's one of those fragrances definitely gonna turn heads, it's gonna make you smell amazing. earlier, older batches of this particular fragrance is fetching a pretty penny in the market today, and rightfully so. They were incredible. This particular one, I believe, is from 2011, which is still a great one. But the initial, formulation, 2009, with the metal cap, fetches, I think, upwards of $300 to $400. So it goes to show this has a following for a reason. The good from La Nuit, or La Nuit de L'homme, the L'homme collection, is going to be La Nuit de L'homme. The bad for me is going to be this particular guy right here, which is called Cologne Gingembre. Cologne Gingembre smells amazing. If only they would release a, parfum or a, eau de toilette, darker, deeper version of this particular fragrance, really amping up that ginger here, and would last longer. I would love it. Perhaps, like I said, a bronze bottle would be amazing. The juice, the same color as the L'homme Parfum Intense with the bronze cap. Just some food for thought. Would smell amazing because the scent itself is good, but the performance really sucky. So Eau Gingembre, the bad for me, from the L'homme/La Nuit L'homme flankers of fragrances. The ugly for me is going to have to go to this particular one from 2018, Cologne Blue. Not because it's an ugly scent per se, but because this particular fragrance is the most generic one of the whole collection. I think this is a lot of been there, done there, put together in the blue scent. It is nice, it's fresh, it's aromatic, it's woodsy, but because it's very similar to a lot of stuff out in the market, it's going to be the ugly for me and the one that's gonna get, and it's gotten the last amount of wearings from me in this collection. The most underrated in this collection is going to be this particular one, L'homme Libre. This was criminally underrated when it was readily available. Not many people were talking about it. This stuff smells amazing, guys. The vetiver cedar combination in the dry down with that ozonic, refreshing blast of citrus, spicy, herbal nuances up top. A violet flower, Olivier Poge, Carlos Benaim, two amazing perfumers put together this, what I consider a very nice, fresh masterpiece. Hard to find these days. This continued with the blue stem, much better than the tonic version. Definitely the most underrated, in my opinion, from this particular collection. Now, the most overrated for me has to go to this particular one, La Nuit de L'homme Frozen Cologne. I spoke highly of it when I was going through, the rundown of all the different, flankers. The only reason why I say this is overrated now is because it's fetching upwards of $150 to $200 for a 800 ml bottle like this. I think it's a little bit too much. This smells really nice. It takes that La Nuit de L'homme scent profile, makes it really pop, giving this like frizzy, fizzy kind of a vibe. It is really nice, guys. I think there's also mint in here, which again gives this really nice fizzy and refreshing kind of an undertone, almost like a soda pop. But I do not think it's good enough for $150, $200 for a bottle like this. Perhaps $70 to $100 would be, worthy if you could find, an older formulation, the only formulation, because this was discontinued shortly after. But it's definitely a great one, guys. But it is very overrated at this time. So very hard to find, because if you own earlier formulations of La Nuit, you don't really need this one. But it is a really good flanker if you can find it for a reasonable price. My final thoughts on this particular collection, the Yves Saint Laurent L'homme/La Nuit de L'homme collections. As you can clearly see, I'm a huge fan. I have 12 bottles. I've had more than 12. I think at one point I had 16. I got rid of some of the flankers that I thought they were redundant or I didn't like them as much. These are my favorites, guys, hence the fact that I kept them. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What is your favorite? What are your favorite top 3 or top 5 La Nuits or L'homme fragrances ever released? I'd love to read your comments down in the comment section. In fact, let me know other GBUs, good, bad, ugly, underrated, overrated fragrance houses you guys would like me to cover here on this channel. Please comment down below and I'll definitely come through with them. In the meantime, thank you so much for your support, guys. Please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed the content. Please don't forget to subscribe for a lot more. And if you would, please hit that notification bell icon so you get more videos straight into your feed just like this one. As always, remember, fragrance is emotion, so wear what truly moves you. I'll see you again real soon.